Hello, we're back. Tales of Arise. We're starting with a little sketch.
I didn't realize Renans oppressed their own kind, too.
And yet, weirdly, none of them seem to mind. Am I the only one who finds that strange?
It is the way things have always been, so no one thinks to question it. You have experience in that regard yourself, do you not?
Yep, we do.
Unquestioning acceptance of your own servitude. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Even so, the quality of life here seems much higher than any Danon city we visited. I used to think it was impossible to build an ideal society without wealth. But I suppose having it doesn't always mean people are treated fairly either.
True,
More to the
true.
point, not a single citizen seems to have even heard of the Red Woman. What if she's not here? What if it turns out we're looking
You
at
can
the
just
wrong
disguise
place
yourself.
entirely?
No, Halim didn't see her.
Still too early to say anything for sure.
For all we know, she might be able to blend in, move around unnoticed. I say we hold off judgment until we've exhausted every avenue.
Alright, Raptors, multiple. Oh, another sketch.
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill of yours got a name?
What skill?
And what skill would this be, pray tell?
You know, when you're talking to people around town. The way they suddenly become putty in your hands.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow.
I do. It's called friendly intimidation. Look imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll have people wrapped around your finger in no time.
I
Oh,
would never stoop to such scandalous tricks. Any feelings of intimidation are solely in the eye of the beholder.
So there is a knack to it! How do you learn it? Can anyone do it?
Now you've got me curious. Is there special training to master?
Let's see. An obsession with being elegant is a must. Oh, and it helps to be old-fashioned, too. Bonus points if you speak in a way no one can understand.
If you've a bone to pick with me, it'd be quicker to just come out and say it.
What? They look up to you, that's all. I'm just helping them along.
Hey!
oh no.
What's got into Alvin and Law all of a sudden? I can barely understand a word they're saying. And what's with the weird poses? Was it something they ate?
Oh no, what's the post gonna
I
be?
hope you're willing to take the blame for this one.
I wasn't expecting them to take me so seriously. I'll go and have a word with them.
Please do. What poses could they possibly be making? What scandalous poses? Oh, and another skit. Lennox is full of these skits.
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people here are supposed to do. I mean, they're sovereigns up on the Renan homeworld, and all their lords were sent to Dana.
But
They don't really
Dohalim
do
is a
much,
lord,
right?
Only current acting lords have power. Renan society is quite strict about such matters.
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to see Lennigus now. Balsif, Cannabelt, Almadria, and Volron. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing about the other lords.
Well, yeah, why would we?
Yeah.
To us Danans, they were just enemies we needed to overthrow. Nothing more.
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city, going about their day-to-day lives, it gets you thinking.
It feels strange to imagine the lords living here too, you mean?
Yeah, a little.
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquiring with some of the local? Every lord in their household has their share of supporters here on Lennigus. And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dana, which means they should be more inclined to talk to us.
Oh, not bad. So we can learn more about the lords. I might have to do that at some point. If we see anyone, we will. I guess we'll go about doing it now. Learning about the lords. You want to know which lord I support? Why? Are you out counseling for someone? I'm of His Excellency. Our most sage Tedalus. You probably know him better as Lord Balsaf. I know a lot of people consider him to be a giant priest. Believe me, I realize he can be an aggressive man. With those people, want those people to realize how much he looks after the members of his house. It's fair to say a house Tedalus doesn't enjoy much esteem. Those of us who serve will be the first to admit it. But His Excellency always stands up against any who would mean us harm. Of that we can be sure. His efforts in the crown contest aren't only for his family, but to improve the standing of every member of his house. I owe so much to His Excellency. I could never dream of serving under any other lord. Oh, well, he's dead because
Volseth
of me.
had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
Yeah, I don't believe it.
It's possible. A change in position can do much.
What about you? Lord Dohalim, you've returned! Ah, I see you've brought the aids with you. Do you remember who I am, my lord? Surely you must, yes? Not only do I support House Ilquaris, but more specifically, his lordship personally. So much, I've been trying to share my appreciation for his lordship to anyone who will listen. In fact, I was planning to publish my extensive writings and subject through this very terminal for all to read and enjoy. But since the lines appear to be cut due to the recent tumult, I've been unable to upload them. I know. Since you're all here, I'll just read them out loud. There exists a most handsome man, a man who radiates beauty, whose every word, every syllable is divine poetry. He hails from the famed house Ilquaris, and his name, Lord Dohalim. Music is his passion, the arts his great love, the scores his flourish, and Kufman of this land cannot begin to compare to his magnificence. So refined and majestic is his posture, why the mere thought of it brings back ecstasy. Once he becomes our sovereign, Brenna shall bloom anew, unshearing an era of prosperity for our grand civilization. Until a glorious day comes, I shall forever be praying for his victory, morning, noon, and night. Well, what do you think, my lord? I poured my whole heart into hoping to capture your essence. But I forgot to mention anything about his lordship's love for collecting things. I must take this time while the lines are down to appendix. Only then will my masterpiece be complete.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Fair enough.
The lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
Hello.
I shall refrain from commenting.
Well, I never to think anyone could try to tear me away from House of Valkyries. What? What do you want? Don't tell me you work for Lord Dohalim or that dreadful Medra. Do you? You don't? Well, don't scare me like that. To answer your question, I came from a family that has served House Valkyris for generations. Indeed, I'm doing all the support I can for Lord Galabelt behind the scenes so that he might emerge victorious. But I think of him as a cruel man, but I insist they're utterly mistaken. Though I won't deny, he can be strict. He puts Renna's interest front and centre like no one else. Why, he advocates that, rather than staying confined to Lenegis, we should get on our colonising Dana and expand our horizons. That way we'll become masters of both worlds and overturn our current minority status on Dana's surface. That is why he seeks to become our next sovereign. Tell me, is there a greater, more noble ambition than that? I think not. It is a pursuit of power for the advancement of all our kind. That's what makes him an exemplary lord, a model above all others. Though I was unable to accompany myself, my two sons being blessed with the honour of joining him on the surface. As their father, it fills me with endless pride. Well, they're probably dead.
Ganabelt was so horrible to people, yet he was invested in helping Renna succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
Yeah,
I'm
but
perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Renna.
It seems like Ganabelt also had the people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Danans?
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other.
okay, what's this?
Pardon me.
This area falls under the sole jurisdiction of House Caneris. I must ask you to depart at once. Surely you don't claim to be ignorant of our famed house, ruled over the esteemed Lord Almedria. If so, I urge you to listen well. In fact, I bid you listen carefully regardless. Have you ever noticed how in the history of Lenegis, only a few women lords have emerged to compete in the crown contest? Many have theories as wide as might be, but Lord Almedria quashed the doubts of any naysayers through sheer might. In fact, not only did she usurp her father and previous family masters, she also moved her older brother to claim the seat for herself. There's a woman who stops at nothing to get what she wants, gives her enemies daring the slightest opening to strike. Surely Lord Almedria is a woman of talent. No one in all of Renna better exemplifies the virtues of our nation's that word. Soon the age of glorious women sovereign reigning over Lenegis shall be upon us at last. Okay.
Her willingness to stoop to survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it as morally right too.
Are you Volron supporter? Ha! How loathsome. Oh, I was just reading about Volron. Can I help you? I was always an ardent supporter for Lord Urwag and Hilderus himself. Were it not for his sudden death down the surface, I likely would still be. My eyes, Lord Urwagel is the true Waterlord. I don't believe for a second that he perished in some accident, as they say. That's how Volron runs Garth Harrows. Don't get me started. I hear it seems only damaged but his fellow Renans too. We may live in a society where the vector goes to the spoils, but his actions go against what we as people stand for. Besides, just what sort of family line is the House of Ignitioner of his anyway? I've never heard of it. Until he came along, which means they must be among the lowest dregs of society. That such an ignoble lineage could suddenly produce an awesome artist capable of ascending the lordship. It's unheard of. None of it makes any sense, not to mention all of the upheaval around here of late. What is happening to our people?
It seems like the
Wait a
people
bit.
on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganeth Harrows changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
You can see my control number, right?
Remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
Yeah, it's just making sure it wasn't.
When you think
Right.
about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brutality they're known for.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely competitive. But their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces, and nothing exemplifies that more than the Lords.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Rena, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you, because we're threats to Rena.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the Lords were all people, too. Balsif and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean...
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. They were individuals, just like the rest of us. So I guess what I'm trying to say is...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Rinwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Danon doesn't make you a good
This is the
person,
Lord's store.
and being a Renan doesn't make you a bad one. I think that's something we've all seen.
Shion and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust, as a fellow human being above all else.
Nice. Oh, where do we go? Over here, right? Ooh.
There's something I just don't get.
Yeah.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfricht Milgras, the former Lord of Cyslodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfricht whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
Oh.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegis?
I guess over Holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland, sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom? And to what end?
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelegion, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe anymore.
You and me both. Though we are Renin by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Core existed, remember?
Yeah.
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
Let's get a move on indeed. Oh.
Doe?
Faria.
Oh no.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was...
But why are you here? Wait. Don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dana already. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still... kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Danon rock, you haven't changed
don't
one bit.
blame. No.
But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Oh, Halim, no!
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Oh, Halim, no! Oh? Oh? She shows herself.
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
Oh? No, Halim's just trying to end it all.